Hi, and welcome to Hawk's Eye View. I'm your host, Jada Brown, and today we're going to be talking about poetry. And I'm here with our guest, Jada Wilkinson, who recently just published her first poetry book called Let's Make Things Clear. So if you can please introduce yourself and the book.
No problem. So yes, my name is Jada Wilkinson. I am a second year student here at UMES. I'm majoring in human ecology and special education, and I am a poet. I just recently released Let's Make Things Clear, a collection of poetry and prose. This was a self-exploration project. I ventured through a lot of life experiences in order to get this to become, and it's here.
Now, this is a beautiful project we have today.
Thank you.
So I just want to ask you a couple questions about this. So where did the motivation come from, and how was the pressure to publish your work?
All right. The motivation for this project came from me taking a step back and understanding and looking at the motivation for all the poems that I was writing. They all followed a similar theme of not knowing where I belonged and things like that. And being that this is my second year, this is my second semester, my second year now, I felt a lot of pressure on myself to get this book released because I was sitting on it for a couple of years. But I released it on my birthday, and I felt like that was like a big sign of me making that next chapter flip, you know. So here's a book for it.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. So let's backtrack a little bit. How did you get into poetry? What made you want to pick up that pen or pencil and start creating art?
Okay, so I always loved writing, but I ended up in a competition back when I was in second grade, and I had to write a poem about a really important scenario that happened in the world, and it ended up being about the Haiti that happened in 2010, the earthquake that happened in Haiti in 2010. And from then, I've just been writing ever since. Like, I tend to use that as an outlet. You know, when I get a little, when I would get angry and things like that, my mom would always tell me, like, write it in a journal, you know, instead of like emoting out loud. But I took to that. I would write in my journal and things like that. But I like to make the distinction that I'm not only just a poet, but more so a spoken word artist. Right. So I don't want to confine myself to the pages with paper and pen. I like the idea of you seeing my emotions and hearing my emotions when I do speak my poetry. Like, I would love for people to hear it, not just read it.
Right, that's beautiful. Some of you may or may not know, but we do have a poetry team on campus. So elaborate on what Power is and how people can interact with it, and what did you bring to the table?
Okay, so yes, on campus we do have an organization called Power, and that is an acronym, and it stands for Performers Offering Words to Encourage Recreation. It used to be Power of the Tongue, and even though we changed the name, the weight still holds with that of wanting to be able to speak the truth, be able to express the truth, and get everyone doing the same thing, you know. So Power is the poetry organization on campus, and I am so in love with it. As soon as I came on campus, I knew that was something that I wanted to get involved with. And as soon as I found out about them, I was all in. But before that, I went ahead and threw some open mics, and I got them involved and coming to the open mics as well. And from then, it's been up from there. We provide that space for each other. We provide that space for others, making sure that the rawness that we put into our own work is available. Like, that space to be raw as well is available for everybody else too. So, as the promotional manager, as the social media manager, I try to do my best with getting the campus student body to know that we are here. We're willing and we're able, and we want everybody to get on board, you know, like, we don't want to fall off into the shadows or anything like that. So, trying to get a little more active with engaging with other clubs on campus too and stuff like that. I think I'm kind of working on that, getting all the other orgs to know who we are and things like that.
Right. So even though you are part of the e-board, how does this bring you the feeling of belonging, and how did you know what this feeling meant?
Just like in the book, I spoke about not knowing where I belonged, and coming on campus, coming to HBCU was very important to me. And then coming into the poetry scene on an HBCU campus, it just, the idea felt right. And then when I got there, it felt even more right. You know what I'm saying? Like to just be around people who look like me and who may or may not have similar stories to me. And then we all have these different talents and different ways of expressing ourselves. And I felt like that, you know, like was amazing. You know, I take my personality as someone who's very outgoing, and then being able to utilize that to get everyone else to come and see how beautiful the space is themselves. I feel like that's super important, and I'm glad that I'm able to add on to that in that aspect. But even them allowing me to be that person and me not feeling bad about me doing all of those things is what makes me go so hard about them and continue to want to.
Exactly.
You know, yeah.
It's a beautiful feeling, beautiful feeling. Just a couple more questions for you. What can people do that are interested with power? What advice would you give them if they're scared to join or not sure how to go about the action of power?
Okay. So, well, power, it's comprised of so many different people. So I've mentioned that I myself am outgoing, but we have so many different personalities and different people, again, from different walks of life, different backgrounds. You can find somebody that you connect with and they can help gauge you into the space, or, you know, be that mentor or anything like that, be that guide. We have an Instagram page. It is at UMES Power. We also, our email is umespowerott@gmail.com. If there's any questions or comments or concerns that you have about power, please reach out. If you find any one of us, just say something. We are so welcoming. We want everybody in the club. I'm not gonna lie. we love the idea of how so many people have so many different ways to write stuff or express stuff or perform things. I love getting inspired, and my peers do as well. Like my fellow members do as well. So join, come out.
Yes, literally. I also agree. From personal experience, this poetry team is so welcoming. It's such a beautiful, put together by the community of this campus. And for our last question,
talk to me.
Can you perform a piece for us?
I would love to, and it's gonna be from the book.
Okay, a little tease.
Yes. This is a piece that I feel really encapsulates what brought forth the book. It's kind of one of my favorite poems, and the title is "When You're Not Made Out of Love." So without further ado, when you're not made out of love, you get things you never asked for, like having your last name be different than the last four, and how a solid foundation or a sense of belonging is not on the passport. Not like you ever had one, with stamps from family trips, or a huge wall of memories filled with old family pics. It's like your urge to socialize is clipped when you're not made out of love. And in big settings, it's awkward because you don't like to be touched, and it's rough because you were never the one to get that many hugs. But I guess that's just the result of two people deciding to have a kid for fun. But what's to come is an attempt to fill the void that they brung with extravagant gifts, but it never seems like enough. You get overcompensated in gestures that are just above and beyond, and it feels wrong, but it's normal now, so you just got to play it off. But I mean, how long is it going to take to realize that all was needed was a visual of how it looks to see the ones who created you, be the ones who lived with you. So when you're not made out of love, it's kind of hard to have a heart, knowing that your existence wasn't even agreed upon from both parts. You go out into the world being picky with the love you give due to the lack of love that you received, in hopes of finding the right one to start your own family tree. See, not being made of love could have been a disastrous recipe, but luckily you were given the blueprint of how it should never be. When you're not made out of love.
Jada, you are amazing at this.
Thank you.
Every part, the having the kids for fun, where was the visual, you hit every point,
yeah.
And you make it known in each poem of what's trying to be brought to the table and what people are trying to see.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for your
having
time.
me.
Of course. Thank you for your time. We really appreciate it. Thank you for your time. Jada coming on the show. We really, really appreciate it. Thank you all of the viewers for tuning in for Hawk's Eye View. Join us next time when we'll be meeting with another Soaring Hawk. Thank you for watching.